far, 9-6, 5-2, 5-1. We need a great game out of these two tonight.
It's crazy how one team has been in control for each of the 3 games. It's just that it's been 2 different teams.
Exactly. No Eriksson Ek, still not in. They learned to do without him last game, so no reason why Minnesota can't do it again. Nathan MacKinnon, goal in 4 straight. Landeskog, career-long 6-game point streak in the postseason. And Frank, Nichushkin, Nelson, both have 1 goal in 7 games, both empty netters. They've combined for 3 assists. Colorado needs them to get going a little bit 5-on-5.
Nathan MacKinnon, you mean Scuba Steve from the Scuba Squad?
my question about him, were those
I just can't believe that this was a storyline. Like, this was, who had this on their bingo card?
But still, were those his flippers? Does he travel with flippers? Does he rent them? Does he lease with an option to buy? I want flipper info.
I just remember back in the day whenever you went on like road trips with your hockey team and you're hanging out at the hotel, like the big rule was do not go in the pool before the game because your legs will be jello.
That was also a Little League baseball rule I had back in the day. As a little kid growing up in Pennsylvania, we were not allowed to swim day of baseball games.
Mm-hmm. Impressive.
Monday, May 11th, 2026. Happy birthday, Adin Hill. He's 30. 2023 Stanley Cup champion. He was 11-4 that spring, Frank. .932 save percentage. Carter Hart, .905 right now. He'll need to improve that. We'll talk about that series, of course. Hill last played April the 9th. Do you think they stick with Hart the rest of the way? Torch is like, I'm riding with him the rest of the way.
I think so. Hart has rebounded and has been pretty good. And not only that, longer term view, you can put Adin Hill's name on the chopping block. I'd imagine if Vegas is going to try and cut down salary to try and keep someone like Pavel Dorofeev, that Hill has to go. So that's where I'd start. And we're going to talk about this tomorrow. Tomorrow's show is going to be, I'm going to tease, it's going to be all about the goalies. You won't be here. You'll be on a plane. But we're going to go through goalies from soup to nuts, evaluating the market and trying to play matchmaker. So stay tuned.
Ooh, I like that. Florida might need a goalie. Yeah, everyone always needs a goalie. Yeah, I'll be on an airplane flying to Las Vegas. Day of game. I'll be calling that Duck Vegas big game 5 with Kevin Weeks. Brad Marchand is 38 years old today. Happy birthday, Brad. He's probably shooting a raccoon or something out in the wild of Nova Scotia. He played 52 games this year, missed 30, but still had 27 goals, 27 assists, point per game guy as he turns 38. He's got 451 career goals, Frank. He's got 4 more years at 5.25. Brad Marchand's going to be a 500 goal scorer. There's no way anyone saw that coming his first 1, 2, 3, even 4 years. You knew he was a good player. Self-made man in Providence, and then got his chance in Boston, never looked back. But no way anyone thought this year 3, year 4, year 5.
No, it really took him till he was almost like 26 to really become that player in the NHL, which is an amazing story. And he just is the gift that keeps on giving. I don't know if you saw over the weekend, but there was some like random account that had like an Austin Matthews trade proposal on it. And like the official Brad Marchand account was just like, ha, 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 ha. Like, and just like, he can't help but comment in everything, just stick his beak into whatever's coming next. He can't help it.
Especially Toronto-based information. That's his number one foil. And happy birthday, Brian Rust. He's 34. 12 years a Penguin, 2 cups. He's 5.13 times 2, Frank. I know they want to keep Sid happy, but there's a lot of teams that could use someone like him. Like even a Chicago, San Jose, they're trying to make the next step to a playoff. He'd look good in all those kinds of young teams like that, or even someone else looking for a little bit of depth. Although the Penguins going to have a hard time even getting to the floor. I thought about this, Frank, actually. I'm kind of really sidetracking after a Brian Rust kind of subject thrown at you. Like, what if, I was thinking about this, they have it so hard, they might try to rebuild. So you go to Sid, we'll extend you 1 year at $20 million in 2 years because we need to get to the floor. This is a make good to you as we try to, if we trade Rust and Raquel, we're going to get a bunch of draft picks, but we still we have people like Chinikov was already 25. You can play with him. And we have some guys in that realm as we try to accumulate assets. What about something like that? Just kind of popped in my head this morning when I woke up. 1 year, $20 million for Sid, like the complete max, because he deserves it.
Did you go back to sleep because you were dreaming or what?
I did do that. I did go back to sleep. I love the post-sleep nap when I wake up at 6 a.m., read a little bit, and then go back for another hour and a half. And I feel great like I do right now.
Sid, yeah, I mean, it's not 8.7, so Sid can't say yes.
18.7.
I don't know.
I would do it as an owner, as a make good for all the money he sacrificed, and we're kind of rebuilding a little bit here. I give him 1 year, like $20 million. I extend. Okay, Franks and Beans. Before we get to the rundown, Craig Button's here. We always have great hockey discussions with Craig. Frank, Marcus and Nick Foligno. Back in action, of course, tonight after announcing that the Foligno face-off did raise more than $200,000. Good on them. Stick taps their way. They can become the first brothers, Frank, to win a cup together since Rob and Scott Niedermayer in 2007, 19 years ago.
And also stick taps to PK Subban for fulfilling his pledge with the Montreal Children's Hospital. I know he had the Doctor of Philanthropy last night. The coat, as you definitely pointed out, every segment. And well done. I mean, look, it was a long road to get to $10 million, but very impressive the work that he's done to just bring everyone together. And it's a place that he did for a lot of years, made visits to without any fanfare after the initial one. A true commitment.
Yeah, whether it's our own personal fitness or our own financial investing, charity is a good carrot to throw yourself. Let me try to raise this much for this cause, whatever it is. And it's a good thing to do. And well done, PK. I'll be back in studio with PK and Mess tonight for the one Stanley Cup playoff game tonight. ESPN, 8 o'clock, Colorado and Minnesota, because the Flyers and Canes are done. That game got a little bit earlier, which is good for everybody, for sure. The Canes extend Mark Jankowski, 2-year extension, 1.85. Great value for them, Frank. He's played basically a single season with them, 87 games, 19 goals. I mean, 19 goals, 87 games, 1.85. That's pretty team friendly.
I mean, that's what the Canes do. I mean, we talked about that Jackson Blake deal and the Logan Stankoven deal. I mean, these are like massive frontline players for this team that are locked up for their foreseeable future in the $6 and $5+ million range. It's like, it doesn't even make sense how cheap these deals are going to be 6 years from now.
Macklin Celebrini named captain of Team Canada at the Worlds. That really says a lot, not only about him, but what I think Hockey Canada is trying to really, he's got Tavares, he's got Ryan O'Reilly as his A's. Again, they're just really he's almost like that child in Hockey Canada as the parent, and they just want the best for him. They're trying to bring him up the right way and give him all these situations, this summer camp, this science camp, this tutor, whatever, just to have him be as best as he can possibly be. He's really been blessed, whether it's parents, the coaching he received, the path he's gone on. It's been really something to watch, and it continues to kind of happen at a young age.
Well, I know the big theme today is going to be talking Montreal Canadiens and their big win over the Sabres and just the motif that surrounds that team with the torch. But first thing I think of when seeing Macklin Celebrini as captain is that in Flanders Fields, that line that the Canadiens have made so famous. To you from failing hands we throw, the torch be yours to hold it high. I mean, that's the passing of the torch. It's going to be right from Crosby to McDavid to Celebrini.
Yeah, Crosby's about to hit 40. McDavid's about to hit 30. Now here's this guy about 20. So it is something. And a couple more quick Frank and Beans before we get to the rundown. Radko Gudas was a game-time decision last night, so he's close. Lower body injury during the final weeks of the regular season, started the playoffs, aggravated it. Also, Joe Quenneville made a little switch on D, went from Tyson Hines to 5'10" Zellweger. They only had 6 goals the first 3 games. They wanted to infuse a little bit of offense. You see Joe Quenneville has been very aggressive, tweaking his lineup in this series, which is really cool. Mark Stone injury is a huge thing. We'll get to this series. He just provides so much offense for that team with his creativity and hands. So it was either Riley Smith or Brandon Saad for Torts. He went Saad. He did hit the post. We'll see what Torts might do as the series shifts back to Las Vegas. But let's hit the rundown, and we'll get back to Vegas.
Quickly, what about Ian Moore? I mean, played forward in these playoffs, comes in, plays defense, gets his first career Stanley Cup playoff goal. Is wild.
Yeah, he's Brent Burns without the backpack. I mean, forward when Burns was young, forward, back, forward, back, forward, back. Really impressive to have a guy like that. And so that's really impressive stuff. So let's hit the rundown here on Frankly Hockey. Montreal leads the series 2-1. Dobes is check for stop. Slavkovsky, a goal, 4 power play goals. Still no points for Caulfield or Slavkovsky, 5-on-5. Caulfield did get a goal and an assist. Newhook, what a story he's been. You always need those bottom 6 guys who contribute. We see it with Howden in Vegas. It's Newhook now in Montreal, 2 goals. He leads them in goals. Sabres, man, they did not look good last night. Tage Thompson did get a goal early. He snapped a 7-game goal drought. But boy, Frank, I'm a little concerned, and if I'm a Buffalo fan, very optimistic if I'm a Montreal fan, because this is 2 games in a row now where their speed seemed to overwhelm Buffalo, and I'm trying to find where are the answers for the Sabres. I'm having, again, these things can switch. Games can look very different for sure. Game 5 could be 2-1, although probably not, but it was really something, even though Buffalo scored early and then Lyon was sensational, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0 every couple minutes. You could just, I think I sat there at one point with Mess and PK said, I wouldn't be surprised if this game is 5-1 Montreal when it's all said and done. This is when it was 1-0 because you could see it coming.
Right. And I think it was Alex Newhook who said, and Ray Ferraro passed along this nugget during the game, you know, you lose game 1 and you feel like you're getting swept. And then you win game 2 and you think you might win the series in 5. And just these roller coaster of emotions that swing back and forth. I think maybe this series is the poster child for that, because the Canadiens all playoff long have gone back and forth. Win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. Last night's the first time that they've won 2 in a row, all playoffs long. And I actually want to take you back a step further, which is to the 3rd period of game 1. I know score effects are involved, but they really kind of seem to unlock something or figure something out in that 3rd period that they then carried over to 2, and then 2 slid right into 3 with that Tage Thompson goal notwithstanding. So now Montreal seems to have controlled pace. They seem to have controlled scrums. Their power play is full marks. I mean, we've talked before about their setup and how enviable it is with 5 true difference makers ready to make something happen at any given point. And then, oh, by the way, Cole Caulfield gets on the score sheet. Yes, that's happened. And yes, Lane Hudson did all of the work here to get this, which just an unbelievable move to get this to Cole Caulfield in the middle. But okay, so now that piano is off, Cole Caulfield's back. And then you look further down the lineup and, oh, Philip Deneau is scoring. But maybe the biggest story of them all is that Jakub Dobes for this team that had so many goaltending questions all season long. Jacob Fowler, Sam Montembeault. Dobes was in there and he won, but the numbers weren't pretty, and neither was really the structure or technique. He's a battler. He's a blocker. He's one of those guys that just competes for every save, which is what you need in the postseason. It's amazing to see this reception. It makes your spine tingle with how things are working in Montreal. Take a listen. Look at that face. Doesn't end.
Jakub, after the great win in Buffalo,
Yeah, you don't have to be French Canadian for the fans in Montreal to love you. They love the Americans. They love them from Czechia, and yeah, he's again. These are the two youngest teams in the playoffs by average age: Montreal and Buffalo. Third youngest during the regular season after Chicago. So you can see them. They should be better at home, and Montreal certainly has taken the adrenaline from their crowd. And it's one thing how passionate Montreal is, but that barn is gigantic. It's an extra 3, 4, 5, 6,000 people. Other arenas don't have. They don't have that many seats. So that alone, and then you add in the passion. Obviously, it's been forever since they won a Stanley Cup. This is the Yankees of hockey. This is the Celtics of basketball. And it's something right now, and they believe it. And this young team is certainly feeding off it. And right now, Buffalo, again, they can now try to figure this out with their crowd, and they can use their youthful, certainly exuberance like they did in game one. But again, trying to find out how Buffalo can unlock this, I'm struggling to find out how they will, Frank.
Good luck. I mean, I just don't see an apparent weakness in the Canadiens. And I don't mean that they're unbeatable. I just mean that whether it's been the goaltending, I had big question marks about this team heading into this series. And the big thing I said was, I think they're too injured, too banged up to beat Buffalo right now. Mike Matheson hasn't shown any sign of let up. Significant injury. Caden Gooley, same thing, significant injury. Josh Anderson, significant injury. I thought all those things would you'd crumple them up and say, ooh, like that's too much to take out from one team in one run. And yet here they are, the contributions so varied, so important that they're firing on all cylinders. They're not a one-line team. They're not a one-trick pony on the power play. It's not like they've got Dobes absolutely stealing games. He's been good, but it's all of it together. It's the totality of it that has made this Canadiens run seem like the Buffalo Sabres have a lot to figure out.
I mean, certainly Rasmus Dahlin could dial up a big game. Tuck, Thompson, they need Josh Norris maybe to be more of an offensive impact shift after shift. Try to get some shift momentum as they go back home. I would stay with Lyon. I don't think this is the time you switch with him. Maybe if you lose the next one, but I think he was good, and you can't give them an excuse. It's about the players up front. But I just wonder, Frank, does Buffalo try to muck it up? Do they try to play a bigger, more conservative in between the dots game, kind of like Tampa, where they made it very difficult for Montreal to maneuver? But this type of style, Texier loves it. Bolduc loves it. I mean, Demidov is just like free out there to play almost pond hockey. But so he looks very good. Like looked like he's on the precipice of having a 3-point game and scoring goals. And so I just wonder if Buffalo and their coaching staff need to get together and say, we need to get between the dots and muck this up and just protect our goalie and try to win a lower scoring-ish game, because maybe we don't have as many weapons as they do.
Well, that's their game plan, right? They are a team that's willing to go to the middle and to get to the inside. And we haven't seen that consistently enough this series. I disagree with you, though. I'm making a goaltending change. And I'm going back to UPL. And the reason for that is not anything that Alex Lyon hasn't done or has done, so to speak. It's more so that this team split all year. UPL and Lyon, exactly 34 starts each. 34 starts each. It's not a one-man show. This is a team. And maybe see if it gives them a little bit of a spark, just in the same way that Alex Lyon coming in gave them a spark in round one. I, again, thought it was too early. They pulled the trigger. It clearly worked. Lyon went on an incredible run. Now it's time to turn it over to UPL and see if he can get them going again. That's just my view. I do think they make the change.
I would hold that card one more game and see if they can.
It's too late.
Win.
You're down 3-1 going home. It's too late.
The Ducks claw back even against Vegas. Series tied at 2. Cutter Gauthier, 3 assists. Youngest Duck player with multiple 3-point playoff games. He's 22. Ian Moore. Frank talked about him. Had a goal. Golden Knights are 5-2 when they are tied 2-2 in the best of sevens. They're comfortable in this spot. Eichel had 2 more assists. Mitch Marner, 3 assists. So, Marner's going, Eichel's solid, but I'll tell you, this Anaheim team, Frank, seems to have a gear when they want to offensively. Seneca was really impactful in this game. Obviously, the fourth line of Washi and Johnston and Viel are very physical and really good. And this Duck team is suddenly right here now, 2 wins away from a conference final, but a big Game 5 in Vegas tomorrow.
It is, and you've sort of waxed poetic the last couple of days about Mitch Marner and the run that he's been on in these playoffs. We'll make it about the Ducks in a second, but just wanted to touch on the scoring leaders so far this postseason. Kind of an amazing graphic considering the lack of playoff success that Mitch Marner had, but clearly was fully capable of in Toronto. I don't want to make this a Toronto thing about what structure they're lacking, but it seems like with the way that Marner played this season and based on what was asked of him in Vegas, that really helped dial in exactly his capability when it comes to this moment. Does that ring a bell to you?
It's something. I mean, 6 goals in 10 games. Just, when you play 10 playoff games, just go times 8, and that's a regular season. I mean, that's 48-80 right there, you know? And he just, we kind of saw it in the first round against Utah. That one time, that slap shot right down the right side against Utah in Utah, I think that really almost unlocked him, like that moment. And he is so comfortable right now, Frank.
He is, and it shows. But now Vegas, as you mentioned, is maybe a little bit uncomfortable because they haven't yet, and no one to this point in the playoffs has found an answer yet for the Anaheim Ducks, who they cannot be put down. They cannot be kept down. Even that power play, it looked like it was completely broken, gets back on the board last night. It's alive again. The speed and know-how and got to give some love to Alex Killorn as well. Man, that guy
Yes.
has been an absolute force these playoffs because I wasn't sure exactly what he had left in the tank. I mean, look, great player, one of those heart and soul guys that just digs in when it matters most, but I didn't see this type of impactful playoff run coming from Alex Killorn at this stage. I thought he was a nice piece to have to help set the tone. I didn't necessarily envision him as a driver for the Ducks so far this postseason.
Yeah, he turns 37 in September. Remember that last postseason with Tampa Bay when they lost to Colorado, 23 games, no goals. And this was a guy that, really contributed to their championship runs. And even going back to 2015, he had a great playoff that year, 18 points in 26 games. So, but like you said, gets shut out in 22, and then obviously signs plays one more year in Tampa Bay, and then he's pretty good. He's 3 goals in 6 games as they lose in the first round. But then he goes to Anaheim, and this is what Pat Verbeek was thinking. Let's get some of these guys with these young guys. And now, yeah, he's been very loud in this postseason. The beautiful pass to Seneca, that's where he kind of took up shop in Tampa Bay in that corner right there. And then the beautiful kind of give and go with Leo Carlsson for a big goal. So, yeah, I agree. Killorn, he's that guy right now who's been a consistent scorer for them. And now it gets tough, though. It's, Vegas only has to win the 2 games at home to win the series, and they know that. They're in a good position.
And how about Cutter Gauthier, though? 3 assists
Woof.
night. Where'd that come from?
I know. And I was kind of concerned with him a little bit, Frank, because this is a team, as you know, they're an off the rush team during the regular season. This is a team that really likes to score off the rush. They had the second most goals from the slot, however, in this postseason with Minnesota. So they're getting to the inside. But again, during the regular season, they were a team that loved to score off the rush, especially Gauthier. And I was wondering, how is he going to be able to do with a little bit of different? This is a different style of hockey because, especially, Vegas is not going to give you odd man rushes. They're going to clog up the middle, so you got to better figure out a different way to score. And it's been pretty impressive for Gauthier and this Duck team. Again, they're getting to the inside and they're scoring. And right now they are right in it. We'll see about those Stahl. That save percentage is not strong. He's well under 900. But again, no Mark Stone. How is Vegas going to make up the offense? Brett Howden can't score every game.
No, that's huge. Big goal from Dorofiev, and he's been huge for them as well. But, I think in the end, I'm really glad that this series is guaranteed to go at least 6. We need some action. We need some life. Carolina with the sweep. Who knows if Montreal wins game 4? That's 3-1 tonight. The Avs can take a 3-1 lead. Like, we could have a few short series. We needed one that goes close to the distance, and we're getting that with Anaheim and Vegas. I'd still, like you said, lean Vegas, having to just win their 2 home games. But I think you count out the Ducks at your own peril based on what we've seen at this point in time, because not only are they fast, but they're fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, even their home game isn't a gimme, for sure. Anybody can win anywhere in the Stanley Cup playoffs, as we know. But that being said, they have to figure out how to win either tomorrow night or Game 7 in Vegas. They have to win. We know they have to win one of those. But again, they also have to win their home game. They could easily lose the next 2 games. Vegas could win this in 6. It's hockey. Every night is pretty close, and I think Vegas is going to give them their best. But again, the Stone injury, and that doesn't look good to me. Like, he looks like he grabbed that groin area. Non-contact. I would doubt to see him again in this series, quite frankly. And who knows? This could be like a 4-week thing. I mean, so I would not count on getting him back, and that's dicey for them, because he does provide more offense. There's for them outside of, and again, I've talked about this before with other people like McDavid, like Jack's got to look to score now. He's got 1 goal. Like, he's got to start firing and thinking a little. I know he loves to set other people up, but he's got a great shot. He can be a good offensive player. And I think he needs to look to score tomorrow night in Game 5 and have his best game. And he usually does. He steps up in these moments and plays a strong game. You really don't have to worry about him. All three zones, every phase, Jack will play well. But again, they need a production night out of him. And then one more topic before Craig Button joins us. Carolina makes history. 2 straight sweeps, Frank. First team to sweep its first 2 series in the playoffs since the NHL went to the best of 7 in all 4 rounds in 1987. First one to do it. 36-year-old Fred Anderson has yet to give up more than 2 goals this postseason. He has stopped 191 of 201, 950 save percentage, 112 goals against average. That's like Bob Gibson ERA in 1968. And keep this in mind, Frank, regular season, he had the worst save percentage of his 13-year career, and he's doing this. This is part of the story. So Carolina, their second straight appearance in the 3rd round and 3rd in 4 seasons. They lost each of the previous 2, of course, against the Panthers, winning just 1 game. They were 1-8 in those games. And again, one more note: the last team to start the postseason 8-0 were the Oilers in 1985. They won their first 9 games. As Carolina also, Frank, they've won 5 straight overtime playoff games. Like, when they go to overtime, you feel in the regular season, especially when they had Natchez and Aho, but even now, you feel like they're going to win when it goes to overtime in the playoffs.
Even when they have a goal taken off the board, they find a way to get one back, as we saw earlier these playoffs against the Sens. Look, historic dominance is what we're seeing. First team since this playoff format went to 4 rounds of best of 7 in 1987 has a team open with 2 sweeps. And I've seen all the people belly aching and crying on social media. Well, they faced the 6th seed and the 8th seed these playoffs. Congratulations on your sweep. Does anyone think the Sens were a cupcake in this playoff matchup? Like, I don't. Even though it was a sweep, like, I didn't view that as an easy series. And I think the Sens are a difficult team to play against. And I know the Canes, you heard Rod Brindamore say it, they think the Sens are better than what that scoreboard indicated. Now, everyone says, well, wake us up when we get to the conference final. Let's see if Carolina can actually do something. A couple things. One, they've proven that they can manage the rest. They might have as many as 11 or 12 days off between games when this is all said and done, depending on how long the Canadiens Sabres goes. They had a long layoff between Sens and Flyers and showed no rust. And 2, the other thing that I'd like to point out when you mentioned about Freddie Anderson is it seems like Carolina has had a very disciplined plan this season. Remember when Jacob Slavin was out for a long time and they said, hey, you've got a plan when it comes to your rest, your rehab to be ready for the Olympics, and then peaking when it comes to the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's not really a surprise that Anderson's games played were relatively low compared to other years. Maybe they just kind of took their foot off the gas and said, hey, we've got this regular season on lock. We're not playing in a very strong division. We found out a lot about Brandon Bussey, who piled up wins. And yes, Pyotr Kochetkov was hurt for a while, but they didn't really decide until game 80 that Freddie Andersen was going to be the guy starting game one of the playoffs. And yet he was rested and ready to go. Now the schedule seems to set up perfectly for a guy who workload and body fatigue and stress seems to have been a big thing for him. You have all these games off. Freddie Andersen seems really well positioned to continue this march for Carolina. I think you can take the last couple playoffs where they've gotten drubbed in the conference final. You can crumple that up and throw that out the window. I think this Canes team is really well positioned to go on a run to the final based on what we've seen. They have shown no let up at any point in time, and they just completely dominated and dispatched the Flyers in 4.
And want to do a little post-mortem on the Flyers. We'll have plenty of time to talk about the Hurricanes. But what about the Flyers? The great crowd reception, the statement from Keith Jones in the front office, pretty strong performance for them. And how do they build off this?
Yeah, that's going to be the key is now expectations go to another level. I love the interaction between Rod Brind'Amour and Rick Tocchet, 2 Flyers Hall of Famers who went in at the same time. But this team got a standing ovation, which in a loss, as you know, in Philly is not really all that common. But he basically was pointing saying, hey, look around. This is what you guys have built here with this team that defied expectations, 3.8% chance to make the playoffs in March. Now they've got a building block. As Rick Tocchet said, to use his words, we got a taste. Now they know what that level is like. They've got a lot of work to do roster construction-wise to continue this moving forward and lots of questions. What happens with a Matvei Michkov, for instance, and others? But to get in and get a taste, you're also now helping your recruiting profile because now players around the league saw that. They saw the Flyers and the reception that they got. This team put hockey back on the map in this market. It was sorely needed. Now can they build on it? That's what's going to be right in front of Danny Briere and Rick Tocchet and Keith Jones.
Well, let's bring in Craig Button now, TSN analyst, director of scouting, a regular contributor here to Frankly Hockey. And Craig, let's focus on the game tonight. Minnesota, Colorado. It's a huge one, obviously, for the Wild. Still down 2-1. What are your observations of this series so far?
Well, we saw the high scoring, like throw defense out the window. Then we saw the Colorado Avalanche really dig in. And we know Minnesota's a good team. And I think they proved that in game 3. But that's one game. And as we saw from game 2 after the game 1 high scoring affair, when Colorado just dialed right into it, they become a hard team to beat. But it becomes a contrast of styles. The way the Minnesota Wild want to really grind you down. I mean, the moves that Billy Guerin made were at the deadline were to add some size and some weight. That worked to their benefit. And now, can you do it 2 games in a row? It's a common refrain for me. Who can go the hardest, the longest in the playoffs? Because you got to win 4 games in a series, and you got to win that. Then you got to do it again, and ultimately try to get to 16. Can the Minnesota Wild do that? They were down in the series versus Dallas, and then they found a way to get themselves right back up and impose a real significant presence on the Stars and win the series. That's what they're going to have to do here against Colorado Avalanche, a much stronger team in my view than the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, no question about that, Craig. You mentioned the contrast in styles, and that's what piqued my interest. The grind and the style that how Minnesota wants to do it, does that work against Colorado? Like, they seem to be kind of prepared to play any which way you want to play them.
Yeah, I don't think it works against them, Frank. I think it's just different styles. I mean, Jared Bednar started talking about his 4th line, how they set the tempo for his team. Well, I think that John Hines might say the same thing. But when you have the amount of skill that the Colorado Avalanche have, and it's a decided advantage against the Minnesota Wild. And we know how great Kaprizov is and how good Boldy is and how good Hughes is. But it goes much deeper. I mean, one of the things that people are looking for in Colorado is a little bit more productivity from Brock Nelson and that group. But I just think that the skill and the comfort level that Colorado has in playing any type of game, as you mentioned, that gives them the advantage. So what do you have to do if you're Minnesota? Get them out of that game. Get them unsettled. Push them back. That's what makes the playoffs so, in my view, so exciting, so intriguing. And again, game to game, Colorado knows what to expect in game 4. Can Minnesota execute to the same level?
Yeah, one goal for Nichushkin and Nelson, both empty netters for them.
Yeah,
So they do need some more secondary scoring for them for sure. I just want to, I mean, what's happening in Montreal? I think it's such great television. It's
true.
great theater just to watch those fans, how they're acting. A young team who's really feeling the energy from their home crowd. Lane Hudson, talk about the perfect environment for a lover of hockey, like he is, an absolute rink rat. There's no better market for him to play in because he uses that energy for his feet and his brain, and he's given us such amazing hockey. It seems like Montreal has found something in this series against Buffalo now. Is there any hope for the Sabres to try to obviously tilt this seesaw?
Yeah, I'm not going to write off the Sabres. I mean, again, right, as we
Hmm.
just talked about Minnesota and Colorado, Buffalo had a pretty strong game in game 1. Now it's up to the other team to try to find solutions to what those problems that your opponent presented to you, and now that's up to Buffalo. John and Frank, it's interesting. I saw a headline on TSN. Is Lane Hudson now an elite player? I'm like, have you not been watching Lane
I
Hudson for the last
know.
number of years this season? Like, I mean, it's one of those questions where you go, like, who thought this one up? Really, the guy's a superstar. I had him 5th on my ballot for the Norris Trophy, and
So did I. Had him
and
fifth.
maybe just because he didn't kill as many penalties, because what he does in the game is special. What he does in the game is unique. John and Frank, you can relate to this. I said to a friend of mine yesterday, I said, the way he sees the ice, the way he passes the puck reminds me of Larry Bird. People would sit there and go, how did he do that? How did he make that play? And he sees everything and he sees it all at the same time. I mean, he's brilliant. The atmosphere in Montreal is second to none. There's no other environment that's like it. Not, like in other environments are great and we know where they are and everything. Nobody it can surpass the Montreal Canadiens. It's simply impossible. I don't think anybody can match them because so much of what the Montreal Canadiens mean to the fans. And you see it outdoors, you see it inside the Bell Center. It really is special. I mean the interview with Dobes. I mean, how special was that? I mean, he just took it in for 30 seconds and the fans were and the fans said, "You're taking it in." It was like a fire hose of ole ole ole, and I think it was just wonderful and it spoke volumes.
Yeah, our producer Alex actually had a great shot here. I don't know if he can freeze it, but on the back of Dobesh's helmet, it says "Ole Ole," which I thought was, as he turned around, it was such a cool little detail that a Czech player who has really ingratiated himself into the market has really. There's this sort of love affair there. And Craig, my
Yeah.
question for you is, I was immediately transported back to 2010 and the conference final, and because someone had that sign in the Bell Center, they replaced the French arrête with Dobesh, because that's what it said, Halak, back in 2010. And I was just thinking that as amazing as Yaro Halak's run was in 2010, the big story that came after that was that Carey Price took over. And I'm wondering how blessed the Canadians are with as good as Dobesh has been. The big question mark this year has been, will they get enough goaltending in the postseason to be able to withstand and continue to win? But then they have Jacob Fowler waiting. How close is Fowler to being that next guy?
Well, a couple of things I'll say first on that. Like, they don't have to worry about this tandem for a number of years with respect to dollars. They can just let them keep playing and competing. That's a beautiful thing, I think, for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, if we go back a little bit in time to just before Christmas, the goaltending was not very good for the Montreal Canadiens. Sam Montemo had been sent to the minors. Jakub Dobes was in a struggle of his own. And Jacob Fowler came in and stabilized that team. He came in and gave them the goaltending they needed. So it goes to your question about, like, how close is Jacob Fowler? I think Jacob Fowler is going to be an elite goaltender in this league. I don't have any doubt about it. But Jakub Dobes is showing, and we go back to from the trade deadline till now, he's been simply fantastic. So these aren't problems for the Montreal Canadiens. These are things to celebrate. And there's going to come a point in time, as we all know, where a decision's going to have to be made with respect to Fowler and Dobes, how they go forward. But that's a decision that's down the road, and it's not a decision that you have to make without having a whole, what I would say is necessary information, how they operate in a tandem, because the NHL now, I think, has moved to a tandem goaltending scenario. And I think that how you manage it, how it looks, and then how you allocate the dollars there become a real factor. Now, if they're both top goaltenders, I don't think anybody's going to say the $16 million in your goaltending is a good move. But now what can you do with it? The Minnesota Wild that probably are in a similar situation. Gustafsson and Wallstedt, Wedgwood and Blackwood. These are good situations to have, and certainly there comes a time when it's no longer tenable. But that time's not now, and the goaltending has been really good, and no question. I always thought Jacob Fowler is a number one. Jakub Dobes has shown that he's a number one also.
Okay, so in that same vein, then, Lyon or Luukkonen for Game 4?
I'm going with Lyon all the way. I mean, you look at the goals that he gave up last night. I don't think you can blame him for them. They had some really good scoring chances. He still looked to me really good and comfortable in the net. I think that he has a different level of confidence in his game, and I think the Buffalo Sabres have a different level of confidence in him. I think it was a big mistake by John Hines to switch to Gustafsson in Game 2. I really do. And, again, Gustafsson hadn't played in 22 days, and all of a sudden you thrust him into that. There's a time when you want to change things up. I didn't think it was fair to Gustafsson to throw him into that environment.
What about the Carolina Hurricanes? How much of a believer are you in them? Obviously, this is probably the best team that Rod Brindamore's had, mainly just because you throw in Nikolai Ehlers, or that second line has blossomed. They haven't got a lot out of the first line yet. But overall, what's your take on Carolina as they wait the Buffalo-Montreal winner?
I have seen them, John, play in the playoffs, go to the conference final, kind of get beat up by the Tampa Bay Lightning at one point, then the Florida Panthers at another point, and you go, okay, this is a hell of a regular season team, and can they get to the conference final? Yes. And in my mind, I've doubted them. No longer. And if you ever hear me doubt them, please send me a note, or if I'm in your close physical proximity, kick me in the shins. This is a well-coached team. I mean, Freddie Anderson's playing great. The blue line's excellent. 3 lines that play. The fourth line that knows what they are. And as you just mentioned, the top line really hasn't produced. And that tells you how good they are. I mean, Taylor Hall's having a resurgence in his productivity. Nikolai Ehlers on the third line. I mean, I don't even know, third line, second line, first line. They're just all good. And they play a game that is so connected with respect to, they all know what they're trying to do, and they all do it together. It's pretty special to watch what the Carolina Hurricanes are doing. And Frank, I heard you earlier. I don't think there's any question that right now that they'll be in the Stanley Cup final, because I don't see either Buffalo or Montreal being able to handle what the Carolina Hurricanes throw at you. And it's not just the way they play. I think also the maturity they have as a group and as a team from previous disappointments and just falling short will serve them well also.
They're so singularly focused. I don't think they spend any time really celebrating against the Flyers or the Sens. They're like, yeah, so what? We've done it before. And it almost takes Rod Brindamore to remind them, this isn't easy what we're trying to do here, and this isn't easy to win and sweep 2 rounds. No one's ever done it before since they changed to this current playoff format. But as we go back to that bracket, so Buffalo, we've talked a lot about their defense, and Bowen Byram has had maybe sort of his reminder or resurgence. I don't think coming out party's fair for a Stanley Cup champion, but he's been excellent. That blue line's been good. Colorado, Minnesota, we've got Hughes and Makar. Vegas and their top 4 defensemen, pretty formidable. Is it fair to say, though, that Carolina has the best blue line?
I don't know about the best. I mean, I think what's comparable, and can I just throw somebody in there? Brock Faber has been phenomenal for the Minnesota Wild. He's been so phenomenal, but Quinn Hughes has been just a little bit more phenomenal that we forgot about Brock Faber, in my view. Really in every regard. So I just wanted to give Brock some love there a little bit. But when you think about the Carolina Hurricanes defense, and you think about all the elements they have, I think they're so well balanced, Frank. Slavin was out for long stretches of the season, and we know how good he is. Keandre Miller, what a great trade that was. And then you start talking about Sean Walker and Jalen Chatfield and Shane Gostisbehere, right? Like, they have all these different elements that are so well balanced between one another. I call it partner play. And they all have their partner play that can work. They have their different situations that they all excel in. So what I would say, Frank, I'm not going to say the best, but I don't think they take a back seat to anybody.
Yeah, just one goal so far on the blue line, Chatfield.
Yeah, and Chatfield, like, what a guy that, like, knows exactly what his role is and what he's supposed to do. Like, he's sort of perfectly cut out for what they try and accomplish. I know that they don't have the star power, maybe outside of Slavin, but I don't know that to win in the playoffs, I don't know that I'd pick a different blue line based on what's left than the Canes. Maybe that's the way I'd phrase it.
Yeah, which is fair. I don't think there's anything do you sit there and go, well, Frank, what are you talking about? I think that's a fair comment. I think that's a comment that reflects, again, how well balanced they are, how each defenseman complements the other defenseman, and now 1 + 1 = 3. And I think that's what you're always trying to have as a strength amongst your group, whether it be in the forward group or whether it be in the defensive pairs. And I think that's really, really something that stands out for the Carolina Hurricanes.
We have to talk about what happened at the draft lottery, Craig. Obviously, a lot of your career was building organizations through draft and development, and it's fascinating to see Toronto now at 1. What does that mean with Austin Matthews? Does San Jose still draft by best player available, or do they start thinking maybe we should just take the best defenseman here? Reed at 2 looks pretty good. We think he might be a star. Vancouver, same thing. Should they build from the back end out? Get a defenseman, a right-handed shot defenseman. They have Roenick, they have Bouillon. Like, maybe we should go that route, or do we take Malhotra? Just kind of your overall observations on how the lottery shook out and who is where they are and what position they're picking.
3 observations. I'll start with the Leafs. They went into the lottery hoping they didn't fall out of the top 5. So that was
right.
that was win number 3. Win number 2 was getting to the first spot. Well, that's always nice to get the lottery. And win number 1 was to completely change the narrative 180 degrees from the day before after the announcement of their management group. I mean, the focus should be on the ice. It should be on the team. And it was anything but after that Monday press conference in introducing the new management group. So, that's a hat trick of wins for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it gives them options. What I'll say is it gives them options. And now they can consider options that weren't there prior to the lottery and might not have even been anywhere near anything if they fall out of the top 5. There is no player in this draft that is clear-cut number 1. There just isn't, in my view. The margins are razor thin, and there's 32 teams in the league, as we know. All 32 teams will have a different top 10. That is a guarantee. And let's just say that luck, 2 teams have the same thing. I think all it does is reflect that in the absence of a Celebrini, a Schaefer, a Bedard, we can go back to McDavid and those guys. There's no clear-cut number 1. So I think you can look at it and go, okay, what fits our team? What can we use? Who do we like? And I will say this: nobody should raise their eyebrows about any consideration for whether it be 4, 5, 6 players that can be in the mix, and the order of it. Nobody should raise their eyebrows. To me, it's that close.
Okay, so I was going to actually have some fun with this and have you slap me around because I did my mock draft last week and I had the Leafs taking Ivor Stenberg, and for, I don't know, 3 or 4 days, I've been the ire of the Maple Leafs community who's saying, this is rage bait. Can't believe you would even suggest that we'd take anyone other than Gavin McKenna. I just want to be abundantly clear when I say this. I know that Gavin McKenna is unquestionably the most skilled player in this draft. I just want to say that, period, full stop. But when you talk about team needs, that's the biggest thing that stands out for me. If these guys are as close or the margin is as razor thin as you suggest that it might be, haven't the Leafs shown that just pure skill alone is not what is necessary to win when it comes to the postseason? Am I nuts?
No, you're not. I wouldn't say you're nuts. I think you have to factor in a lot of considerations. Number one, these kids are 18 years old. So, when you're looking at skill and everything, I don't know how much of a difference there is between Stenberg and McKenna when it comes to skill. I can tell you right now, I can make a case for Chase Reed, Carson Karls, Keaton Verhoff, Gavin McKenna, Ivar Stenberg at one. I might even be able to make a case for Caleb Malhotra. But when we do mock drafts, you look at a fit, you look at where a team fit. I don't think anybody should raise their eyebrows. And Frank, I'll just remind you of this, and it's not anything you need reminding of, right? People get caught up in the hype of this player or that player. I think Gavin McKenna is a really top-notch player, but if they didn't take him first overall, I wouldn't sit there and go, "What the hell are they doing?" Because it's not that type of a draft. But people get caught up in the hype. Oh my God, we have to take Gavin McKenna. Do you? I mean, did the Philadelphia? I'm not trying to pick on the Philadelphia Flyers here, but did the Philadelphia Flyers have to take Nolan Patrick? Did the Dallas Stars have to take Miro Heiskanen? Did the New Jersey Devils have to take Nico Hischier? Because at the end of the day, the best player was Cale Makar at 4. And the same thing goes for Tim Stützle and Jake Sanderson at 3 and 5. Alexi Lafreniere is not the best player in that draft, and Quentin Byfield isn't either. So if all of a sudden the Rangers step up and go, "We're taking Tim Stützle," oh my God, how could they take Tim Stützle? Not buying, not paying attention, Frank. Neither should you.
Well, I'm just laughing at this sort of public consensus that takes place with people who don't even really watch, but have just followed. Hey, Gavin McKenna has been the guy that everyone talks about, so therefore he should be the consensus. Let me go replay everyone's mock drafts from 2022 when everyone had Shane Wright going to the Montreal Canadiens.
Yep.
I mean, every mock draft in the history of mankind in that week pretty much had Shane Wright being selected by the Montreal Canadiens. That's not what happened. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen here. I'm just saying anyone that thought that I'm rage baiting you, as I suggested in our show last week, Craig, take my mock draft and put it in front of 32 NHL general managers and have them tell you that it's rage bait. I think that'd be pretty far-fetched.
Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. And again, you look back and we're in 2026, so we're a short period out. It's not even close between Cutter Gauthier and Shane Wright. It's not even close. You're talking about a level of player that is so far, the distance between the two. I mean, Shane Wright now is fighting to be a reasonable, serviceable third-line center. And full disclosure, I'm not here to revise history. I had Shane Wright number 1 on my as the player I thought was the best player. Wrong, Craig.
And then finally, one quick one for you, Craig. Does the Maple Leaf lottery win affect what you would do with Austin Matthews? Is that a separate, mutually exclusive argument, or does it make it more difficult, easier, etc.?
For me, John, it's I'm very clear on this. It's separate and independent of who you're taking it first overall. Again, to me, the Austin Matthews situation, whatever the situation is, that's something for the new management group to figure out. For Austin Matthews to assess how he feels and what he's going to offer to the conversation. But if you're tying in this first overall pick to Austin Matthews, that's the first mistake you're going to make.
And we'll end it with that. A great visit from Craig Button. Craig, enjoy the game tonight. Enjoy the rest of the playoffs, and we'll see you down the road.
Thank you.
Great stuff with Craig Button, as always. Ask the Insider. Are they squawking out there?
Oh, man.
Franklin?
The chat has been on fire. A lot of people want Stenberg to fall to their team, which makes me laugh because then how could these two things be equal at the same time? Wait, so he's not good enough to go number 1, but I desperately want him to be a Chicago Blackhawk at 4 or a San Jose Shark at 2. How does that work exactly? struggling with that. Let's see. What else do we have going on in the chat? Tutty says, hope these series all go 7 because I'm pulling for the Canes. Another reminder, like, could you imagine if this goes 7 between Sabres and Canadiens and like you have like 2 weeks off between games? I mean,
yeah, like you said, if they give the game 7 winner just one day off and start the Wednesday after, I think it was 12 days I counted, or maybe 11. And if they give them 2 days off, it'll be 12 days off. Like you said, just about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I can remember a couple times that's happened. Like series that I've covered, there was a game Friday night, and they said, "Okay, you're game 7. Your next series starts on Sunday, no matter what." So you're in it right away. I think there's maybe some advantage to the team that goes deep, but only short-lived against a rest factor. Because as Craig put it so eloquently, like it's who can go the hardest, the longest. I think that was a really incredibly smart comment about how to size up the playoffs and what it means. To only have played 8 games to this point, I don't care who you are, the wear and tear factor is a very real thing.
And Stankoven and Hall are playing 16 and a half minutes a game. They're not even playing a lot. So it kind of reminds me of Brad Marchand last year, because he was like a third liner playing 15 minutes. He could go all out every shift, didn't have to pace himself. So the pace that Stankoven, Blake, and Hall can play at, because they're playing 16 minutes and the rest you mentioned, man, they're gonna be a fast team, Carolina.
Agree. The chat seems to be supportive of Alex Lyon. They think he should start for the most part. That's the consensus of game 4. This one is from Brooke. I haven't seen Brooke in here before, so welcome if you're new. It says, out of all the RFAs and UFAs on the Ducks defense, who do you think they sign and who do you think they let walk? And that's I'm really curious to see what happens with John Carlson. You've got an Oregon Ducks sweater on, but we're talking Anaheim Ducks. Carlson's so fascinating because he's fit well and he's in that sort of window where you won't need to do a massive long-term deal that could help you sort of tide this over for a few years. But at the same time, I don't think he's coming on any sort of discount. My understanding is because the Band-Aid was ripped off, meaning he was such a long-time Washington Capital, now that he's gone elsewhere, this whole notion of like him being loyal to the Ducks, not that he doesn't like it or anything. It's just that they're going to have to pay market rate the same way that anyone else would in free agency. I don't know how much of a stomach the Ducks will have for that. So I'm curious to see also if that run or this run, if they get to the conference final, for instance, does that change anything in Carlson? Does he sit back and go, man, I think we've got an authentic chance to win here. Maybe that idea of a discount is in play. There's a lot at stake for John Carlson and the Ducks here.
I think Gudas will come back 1 year, shorter money than $4 million. I think they want Trouba, but of course you don't know with him, depending on where he wants to live. He's a UFA, $8 million this year. I think Carlson is going back east, and I think I could see him being with a Panther or the Lightning next year. That's my call.
Oof.
And like you said, not interested in a discount. And he's not going back to Washington. Forget that. A million years, forget that.
No, I agree. I don't think that was handled that well on the way out. And not only that, but man, Tampa would be so interesting. They need that more dynamic defenseman. And I know that dynamic isn't necessarily the first word you think of with Carlson at his age, but his ability to move the puck and be a key power play contributor. Like, if you're going to pay that money, wouldn't you rather pay it to John Carlson instead of Darren Radish? Is that crazy?
Well, I don't know, because Carlson's going to turn 37. Radish, you give him 4 or 5 years, he's probably going to be the same Darren Radish in 4 years that he is now.
But I wouldn't want the 4 to 5 years. I only want
the money
the 3
would be
because
close.
You might have to blow it up in Tampa. Like if they continue to lose in the first round, you're going to be trading off everyone. You're going to want the shortest term guy possible, I would think.
Good point. Yep, I like that. But yeah, Anaheim is they have like old guys, and they have young guys. They don't have any of those tweener guys. So So yeah, that will be very interesting to see. And don't forget, they have to sign Carlson and Gauthier this summer. So that Pat Verbeek is going to be a busy man. For no family vacations for the Verbeeks can be planned because July and August are going to be busy.
Bro, the Verbeeks are grinders. They don't take vacations. Get out of here.
Yeah. And they go to Disney across the street whenever they want.
Could you
All right,
imagine Pat
hashtag
Verbeek,
hockey.
big Disney guy?
On the teacups. It's a small world with Pat Verbeek. Oh, that'd be a good video. Be like an SNL skit. Hashtag hockey. Savage send-off. You know, Gritty is tough. He's a tough guy to go at. It's like trying to out-roast Tony Hinchcliffe right now. Like that, to go after him and Frank maybe win, that's a good job by Carolina.
It is. And they were on it. And the back and forth between these two sides was really fun. I just thought the wit or without it, they did a really good job. And I'm sad that they picked Geno's, but look how they redid the paper under the cheesesteak.
Oh,
Cane's
nice.
cheese. Like I just thought they did. This was just it was savage and it was well done. And man, Stormy from the Canes just really had Gritty's number all series. I know it's Gritty's first foray into the playoffs, but the back and forth was part of what made these playoffs so fun. I mean, Gritty after beating the Pens versus Gritty after being swept.
That is gold, I gotta say.
Pretty good.
I'm saying it's a tough guy to go after. He's the mascot right now. He's like the undisputed heavyweight champ, and they landed a couple of big body blows. Stormy bringing his A game.
I did introduce my son last night to Youppi as we were watching the Canes game. He really wanted to know why does a mascot have an exclamation point as the jersey number? Big question for an 11-year-old. I thought that was pretty. He's on top of it. But then I was like, is Youppi or is Gritty a distant cousin of Youppi?
No.
They're both fairies.
Gritty's his own dude, man. That's his own petri dish right there, boy. Woo. You got to speculate to accumulate. What are we feeling tonight, Francis?
I'm going with the Minnesota Wild. Their season's on the line. This is it. You win, you've got a series. You lose, and there's no chance that you're beating the Colorado Avalanche 3 times in a row with no margin for error. So I've got the Wild on the puck line, on the money line tonight, not the puck line. And we'll see. I didn't really love a feel one way or the other on the total. Was thinking maybe a lean on the over, but I just think plus money on home ice, the way they controlled game 3, they seemed kind of like the Canadiens. Maybe they unlocked a little bit something. I don't know if they can sustain it, but all they have to do for this bet is to win 1 game. So I think they could do that.
Yeah, I think they come out, like you said, the same they did in game 3, same desperation, unless the Avalanche get incredible goaltending and unless they have another offensive answer. I think the Wild will have a similar performance. We'll see how much resistance they get tonight. ESPN, 8:00 Eastern time, the only playoff game this evening. Frank, take the last word.
Yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Renaud Lavoie of TVA Sports. Scary story for him these playoffs. Young guy, in shape guy, suffered multiple strokes about 10 days ago and has a long road ahead in recovery. Certain things, just even walking, will be a challenge to get everything up and running again, get those motor skills going. I'm really glad they caught it. Was in touch with Renaud over the last couple of days just to send our well wishes and wanted to do that again on today's show. But Marty St. Louis at their press conference after the game last night recognized Renaud Lavoie back in the building at Bell Center. He's the in-between the benches guy for the Canadiens at games. Just a beloved figure in the French-Canadian hockey universe. Great to see him getting recognized at the press conference last night, just there back on duty again about 10 days after suffering those strokes. So really glad to see it and welcome back and all the best in health moving forward, Renaud.
So many great men and women in the sport of hockey. The culture is so strong. It's just a great part to be a part of as a journalist, as a broadcaster. certainly as a fan as well. We love our sport, and it's wonderful. And that was a very warm moment last night. The empathy is strong in the National Hockey League, for sure. We see what happened in Minnesota this year and the outpouring of love, and it happens in every rink. It really is. When you're up against it and you have challenges in your life, you have a lot of friends in hockey. Let's face it. I always said hockey is the biggest heart in the room, Frank, amongst all the sports and the sports fans and the people. It's always got the biggest heart in the room. So it's an emotional sport, and it's that comes from heart, and certainly that's what we saw last night. Great job, great send off. All right, so I'm off for a couple because I got to travel to Vegas and back from Vegas. Those are all day adventures, so I'll miss you, Frank. Don't forget about me, and we'll see you. I'll see you Thursday.